I'm walking up right now to the Tiger Lily mine. We actually did a hike up here just over a half of a mile because before this half of a mile, the road looked a little bit sketchy, a little bit narrow for our four-wheel drive full-size truck. After walking the road and scouting it, we could have gotten that truck up here easily. Sometimes it's just better to scout where you're going to go before you get yourself stuck and have to turn around somewhere. So a half a mile hike, pretty easy road. We are about 70 miles outside of Winnemucca, Nevada in Pershing County. We've had some really good success with Pershing County. Lots of cool mines, lots to see, and I'm just going to walk up and check out this Tiger Lily. Right now, I'm walking over a very, very good sign for gold. Really, really pretty quartz. Usually you can find gold in quartz, so I might just pick around this tellings pile for a minute. The first thing that strikes me as interesting about this mine is the nice quartz and iron vein that runs down. This mine is a decline, so it goes down on a pretty steep angle. I'm not going to get too close to the sides of the mine. I don't want to slide down into it, so I would need to be roped in. This mine is a decline, and I know why it's a decline. I can see the vein following right down on the edge of this mine. When the miners were out here working and cutting mines, they would usually find the gold and then follow it, which is why you have a vein of gold, and then the mine itself will follow that vein. Miners weren't stupid people. They definitely knew what they were doing up here. The way that this mine was most likely started was the miners found this outcropping right here. You can see that it's very iron stained. They probably took a little sample from this outcropping and said, "Yay, Eureka, we found gold." The miners would have started here and they would have dug a little bit and they would have found on this fault line, this is where the gold settled and where it formed, and they're going to continue to follow that gold vein down or wherever it may take them. Not quite a shaft because it doesn't go straight down, but it's probably a 120-degree decline would be my guess. Definitely need to be roped in to go down here, and you'd want to find something very stable to rope to before you go down here. Right behind me, I'm just going to take a step back. You can see the head frame that used to be over the top of this decline. One of the ways that I can tell that this was not a natural collapse of this head frame is you're missing all of the metal parts of it. As we all know, metal's worth a pretty penny these days, and people can come scrap the metal and take it off and make a penny off of it. We don't have a sheave wheel. Most of the metal holding this together is gone. All that you have left are these little J-bolts that were probably from the 50s or 60s. I would like to say that this was natural, but unfortunately there are vandals who come out and take this kind of stuff, and it's sad because then we have nothing left to see. You can see up above me there, that's the Tiger Lily decline that we were looking at. We saw that it went down on about a 120-degree angle is what we assume. And when we were walking up here originally, we noticed that this portion of the mountain is not like the other portions of the mountain. This is not natural. This looks like it was dug at one point in time. What I'm assuming happened is we have our decline that comes in this general direction, and then there may have been an adit coming out here. They may have offloaded the ore, which is why the little house is here too. It's kind of an easy entrance right across from the house. So I'm trying to just read the landscape of what was here and why it's here and why the miners cut on the angle that they did. And that's the best conclusion that I would come up with at this point. They followed the decline down and then it kind of came out here at one point in time. I'm standing in what used to be a stone house. When we were up at the mine earlier, I discussed how the timbers were really big and those had to have been hauled in. This stone house is a different story. Every single piece of this stone that's around in here came from right where we are. They picked these up, hauled them over, and stacked them little by little to create this house. Some things that are really cool about this house I want to point out. The door would have been here. There's a nice big sagebrush that's grown over it. But this would have been the door. You would have walked in. It appears there was a fireplace here at one point in time. That rock has collapsed in on itself. And they even went through the detail to put in little cubby holes, little boxes, little bookshelves to keep their stuff right here that you can kind of see the remains of. A lot of effort went into building this house. It was their protection while they were up here on the mine, probably where the miners lived while they were out here. Not a very big house, so it could have been 1 or 2 guys or a little family. We'll find out when we do the history of the mine. So again, I'm standing in the stone house of the Tiger Lily mine. The amount of effort that went into this is incredible. We just finished exploring the Tiger Lily mine. I'm Jessica Schumann with Gold Rush Expeditions. I'll see you at the next site. Right now I'm standing at a guzzler. For those of you who know what a guzzler is, this is going to be boring to you. For those of you who don't know what a guzzler is, I'm going to point it out right now. A guzzler is a way to collect water for the wildlife in the area. Rain falls, it falls into this little gutter here. The gutter has a tube that runs down, and then there's a little water collection underneath. The purpose of a guzzler is for the animals of the area to have water. It's basically like a man-made water bowl for the animals. 2 things that I think are kind of sad about this guzzler. Your birds can get to it no problem. We've seen quite a bit of grouse while we've been out here today. But there's also wild horses out here, which they are beautiful. There's no way a wild horse is going to be able to get past this fence and into the water that's underneath this guzzler. Kind of sad because they are beautiful and majestic out here. But the grouse will be able to get it no problem. Do you wonder who pays for these guzzlers? Your man-made water bowls? According to this, the Nevada Department of Wildlife put this guzzler here, and it was paid for by your hunter's licenses. So those of you who buy a hunting license, this is what part of your hunting license goes to. Makes hunting a little bit easier if you know that birds are going to be here because there's water. So again, this is a guzzler.